We've got to raise the bar, and we've got to continue to raise the bar. I don't think any of those young men, when they signed to come to Tennessee, they signed to say they wanted to come and be a part of a 7-6 program. They said they wanted to come and compete for championships, SEC championships, national championships. I know that's what I want. I know that's what Tennessee wants. I know that's what the expectation is. So we've got to continue to reassess everything that we're doing and make sure that we're continuing to move the needle in the right direction.
I believe we have a Heisman quarterback, and when you have a Heisman quarterback, you got to have the receivers to make plays. And my only, individually wise, I want to make plays for him because, what he has done and just him being a leader here, I have so much respect for him. Me and Hook, we go back a long time. Even when he was at Virginia Tech, I committed there before I came here. So that's how I met him at first. And, it's a brotherhood. And, I love him. And, I try to go out there, and it doesn't matter what ball he throws me, man. I'm trying to make the play for him, just because what he has done for me, I just want to give back to him.
Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 cents for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait.
Yeah, I didn't sign any mustard bottles or golf balls. Maybe wish I had had a golf ball that night, you know what I mean? But I'm only
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. This is the morning show. I would say it's going to be a fun one. But I don't think it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I think it's going to be a little bit of therapy, but we do have a jam-packed show. We got Eric Cain from Locked On VAWLS and VolQuest.com coming on to talk here right at the top of the show. Also got Big Vol Daddy coming on after that, a Tennessee legend. He is a Tennessee legend in the world of YouTube. But like I said, it's going to be therapy. I know people are mad, people are upset, people are hurt, people are confused, people are blaming people want to fire people. Our pets' heads are falling off. The world is ending. But we'll get through it together. Let's see who's in the chat. We got Sam Hyatt in the chat dropping those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. Nomad Vol is in the house. John Hill's here. What's up, John? Always good to see you in the chat, my man. Tim Bradley is here. Tim's not happy. Tim, I think you needed some therapy Saturday night, buddy. I tried to be there for you. You tried to text a buddy. I tried to be there for you. The Amish Truckers in the house. Brad Burnett is here. Captain Trips is in the house as well. Come on in, guys. St. Louis is here. What's up, St. Louis? Make sure you guys do smash the thumbs up. Get it out of the way early. Do it once, do it twice, do it often. Just destroy the thumbs up button. Share out the link. Let people know we are live. What's up, Robert? Good to see you in the chat, buddy. Donovan is here as well. What's up, Donovan? Trevor Dixon in the house. Robert Clark is here. Matthew Wilson is here. All right, let's get into it. Let's go ahead and get the crossover started because I need somebody to talk me off the ledge. Let's get Eric in here.
You are Locked On VAWLS, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, Eric? Friday, we're talking jokes. We're laughing. We're talking about Tennessee being huge favorites. Today, we're sitting here sad, depressed, emotional. What's going on, man?
I don't know if I'm going to help much. I mean, there's there's not much to say about this football game in terms of trying to sugarcoat it. I mean, it was bad, man. It's a new week. Hey, there's still a football game on Saturday. Tennessee's still going to play a bowl game. There's still 2 more football games this season, so be thankful for that. But yeah, Saturday was it was not good.
Well, with that said, that's the thing. And, like I said at the top of the show, there's a lot of disappointed people. There are a lot of pissed off people. There are people that want somebody to take the blame. They want to, every time Tennessee comes across something like this loss, people want to fire people, blame people. And, how do you circle back around? Because there is still football to play. You still got to go take care of Vanderbilt. There's a big-time bowl game on the line Saturday against Vanderbilt, and this is a team going into the season, the over-under was set at 7.5 wins. 7.5. So, yeah, you and I were at 8. That means some people were at 6. Some people were at 7. And, I get it. A college football playoff was on the line. I truly believe that all they had to do was win, and they were in, and now that's off the table. How do you circle back around? It's almost, I've said it a couple of times the last couple of days, but it's those hypotheticals that people throw at you and I in the preseason. Well, what if Tennessee finished 10-2? They beat Alabama, but they lost to South Carolina. How would you feel about that? And it's like, I don't want to answer that question, but now here we are. How do you answer that question now?
Or you would say, hey, if Tennessee's 10-2 and they beat Alabama, they're not losing to South Carolina, right?
Right. Yep.
Oh, wait. I don't know, man. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, I don't want to say you're playing for just pride because you're still playing to win 10 games in the regular season. I mean, what an accomplishment. I mean, what a freaking accomplishment. You do that. I mean, that doesn't happen. That hasn't happened at Tennessee in the regular season since 2003. I mean, I know like the guys in this locker room, they want to win every single game. They don't know that the last time Tennessee won 10 regular season games was in 03. They're not playing with that in their mind. But I mean, just to show you how rare that's happened, especially here, I mean, there's still a lot to play for. You're still playing for a New Year's Six bowl, and I understand bowl games don't mean as much as they used to. I get it, but I mean, there's more than just pride, in my opinion. But when it comes down to it, you're going to a Vanderbilt team and their house. I've been there; it's not very good. We've all been there. It's not great. But it's going to be senior day. They are fighting for bowl eligibility. They have come off 2 big-time football wins in Kentucky and Florida. They've got some momentum going right now. And now you have Tennessee that got its tail whipped, that is knocked out of the playoffs, that lost its star quarterback, that lost some other guys got banged up in a loss in Columbia, beat down. I mean, you got 2 teams kind of going in different directions right now. Tennessee's still a much better football team. Tennessee's still a 2-touchdown favorite without Hendon Hooker on the road. But this game got really interesting. So, I mean, sure, you're playing for pride. You're playing for a 10-win season, but more so than anything, just finish this thing off the right way because this has been such a great season, and you don't want to look back and talk about a November collapse to where you started 8-0, wins over Alabama, wins over Florida, you lost 3 in the month of November, and you finished 9-3. That'd be really upsetting.
Let me get this super chat from John Hill real quick. John Hill for $10. Thank you for the super chat. John, you were a little late today, buddy. I didn't think we were going to be able to start the show, but you put the offering in the offering plate. We can go ahead and continue with church service. John says, well, it's now Milton's team to run. He has 2 games to show us what he is getting ready for next year. Bring it to Vandy. Take out the anger. Let's go Big Orange. I think that's the big question, Eric. How does Tennessee respond? How do they bounce back from this? Can Josh Heupel get this team focused and back on track? And so I already see people in the chat. So let's address the elephant in the room. My Monday morning routine, listen to Locked On Vols while I get my show dialed in and ready, take some notes. The elephant in the room, Jeremy Banks left at home. And, you said, and I'm going to clarify this to some listeners. I'm not clarifying this. I'm not going to have some beef with Eric. You said you don't like to jump on and speculate. You talk to people behind the scenes, whatever. You get your story together. What I do here is speculation because if there's some type of drama, if something happens, somebody wants somebody to talk to about it. So what I do is I made a video yesterday and I said, these rumors are going on here. These rumors are going on there. This is what Austin Price has confirmed happened. So give me your take on it because, again, you got your ducks in a row. What do you think happened? And then we'll kind of go forward from there.
I think he had a bad week. I don't think it was one incident. I think it was several for Jeremy Banks. I think it happened early in the week. And then I think a couple of different things happened as the week went on. And I think that, it was probably going to look like maybe a quarter or a half game or something like that. He would have to sit out and they would still travel him and still play him. But ultimately got to the point to where you just couldn't. And he is dealing with an elbow situation, but I think he still could have played through it. So I mean, if you heard an elbow injury, and I even said that on Saturday, I mean that's not completely false. He is dealing with a bit of a hiccup there on his elbow. But a thing about Jeremy Banks is, he's had of course some struggles off the field, and Tennessee's last staff worked with him and tried to get him some help, and he's done a lot of good things, and going and taking care of some things off the field they needed to have the opportunity to come back and play. And he's been a starting linebacker for Tennessee the past 2 years. He's made some plays and everything. But when you're not handling things off the field in the classroom, or in the practice field, or missing team meetings or practice or whatever it is, or that type of stuff, you can't let it go unscathed, over and over and over. So I think he had a bad week. As far as quote unquote a fight or whatever that happened between him and Hendon Hooker, I think there was something out there on Twitter about stepping on the tee or whatever. I mean, I think that's pretty spot on, at least from what I've heard. I don't think any punches were thrown. I don't think there was a fight or anything like that. Were there some words exchanged? Sure, that was probably it. But hey, that's normal. That's a locker room, right? But the talk out there that there was a full blown fight and this team is divided and it's offense against defense, yada yada. At least from people I've spoken to, that is not to be the case. So I know Jeremy Banks came out there and put something on his Instagram story yesterday saying that it wasn't like that. So that was good to see. But we'll see if Jeremy Banks is back and playing this Saturday. You hope he is. I wouldn't say that it's a given whatsoever, but we'll see if Jeremy Banks can get back out there. And I mean, Tennessee didn't lose this game because Jeremy Banks wasn't out there. Sure, could he have helped? Maybe, but Tennessee got his tail whipped by 63-38, whatever that math is. I mean, Jeremy Banks is in there, with that type of effort on Saturday night. Tennessee's still getting boat race. So hopefully for him, he can get back on the field. But as far as team divided and culture issues and, this squad against this squad, I don't believe that to be the case whatsoever.
And that's what, when I make a video, I don't put a cover photo or a thumbnail on it to not get views. I put a thumbnail on it to get views, but then I'm going to bring my true opinion. And I'm with you. That's the thing. I saw so many people on social media trying to spin this narrative that the defense threw the game. That's not what happened on Saturday. But what I do question is, was there some type of divide? And, I don't think anybody really knows other than Josh Heupel and that locker room. And Josh Heupel, we praised him about building up this culture, building up this team. I did think it was interesting. You mentioned it this morning on Locked On Vols. We watched the post-game press conference live on air during our post-game show. And very interesting that Josh Heupel chose that moment to take a shot at somebody that did not travel with the team. I thought that was an interesting dynamic. Let me hit a couple more super chats. Evan counts for 10. Thank you for the super chat. How the hell are what? How the hell are deemed a cocky and nauseating? Oh, we left out the we word. How are we deemed a cocky and nauseating fan base when we have been doing nothing but loving and supporting our team? We've never compared ourselves to anyone. We were just enjoying the ride. Yeah, Evan, you just got to live and die with some of the people in the chat. They're going to come in. They're going to talk trash. Ignore them and continue to engage as a community. That's the unfortunate part. As this channel gets bigger, we're going to lose that small little intimate family that we had. Just ignore them and interact with the Talkin VAWLS family. But I get what you're saying. We're just a diehard, passionate bunch. The Glurney for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Is this the worst loss in Tennessee history? Most points ever given up by a ranked team. Had a clear path to the college football, only to get boat raced by South Carolina. I don't know, Eric. I talked about this in the post-game show. Look, man, I lived through losses to Georgia State. I lived through losses to Wyoming. I saw Vanderbilt win for the first time in my lifetime, standing in Neyland Stadium with my mouth open, just going, what just happened? I've been there, done that. Yeah, is it a bad loss? It's a bad loss because where this football team was at, right? They had it all in front of them. That's why this one hurts so much. And again, just to keep plugging Locked On Vols this morning, that's what you said. The more you win, the more when you have a letdown like they had on Saturday, the more that stings.
Yeah. I mean, and again, no one wants to hear this. I said it on my show. I'm going to say it here. I said it yesterday. I mean, no one wants to hear that, finishing the season off 10-2, going to a New Year's Six bowl game and is what everybody would jump at back in July. No one wants to hear that because, again, you were 8-0, and even as late as 2 days ago, you were in position to make the college football playoff, and you just fumbled it away. So with winning, those stakes continue to get higher and the expectations get higher, and stumbling the way you did is kind of unacceptable. And I mean, here's the loss too. Like if Tennessee were to have gotten knocked out of the college football playoff race by a team that was better than them, okay, or Man, if you just stubbed your toe and made one mistake and you lost a road game by a touchdown or field goal, it's like, that's football sometimes. It happens. I mean, Tennessee just went down there and just laid an egg defensively, made one stop all game long. Literally made one stop all game long. The rest of the drives were touchdowns. Let that sink in. I mean, how bad do you have to be defensively that given night to allow a touchdown every single time the offense touches the ball except one time? I mean, it was just that type of historically horrific night on the defensive side of the football. And, that defense has shown so much more this year, which is why it makes it even more insulting and unfortunate. So anyway, that's just kind of, the more you win, the better you are. The position you're in, every loss hurts a little bit more. As far as worst losses ever, again, I wasn't alive or I was young for a lot of these, but like the Memphis loss was a horrible one back in '96. The LSU loss to a backup quarterback when Tennessee had a chance to go to a national championship, that was a horrible loss. This one stings too because, again, it knocked you out of the playoff race, and you had a chance to go and win a national championship, essentially. You had to have some things kind of fall your way, but you felt good about those. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say top 5, top 10 or whatever. It was just bad, man. It was a really, really bad loss. And, Josh Heupel's not getting fired over this, nor should he. This has still been a really good season, but it was a bad night on Saturday.
Makes it even worse. It's like a little icing on the cake that we're talking about an offense that didn't put the ball in the end zone at all a week earlier. They scored on a fake punt, and then they come out and score on every drive but that one drive. And that one drive kind of gave you a little false sense of hope because Tennessee was in the game. Tennessee's offense, they didn't play great. Hooker missed on some throws. They weren't perfect, but they've never been perfect, right? It's never going to be perfect. But just ran out of gas, man. Hendon Hooker, what an absolute Tennessee legend he's going to be. He's going to go down as a guy that we look back on, and we're going to miss him. Special kid. So sad to see him walking off that field, limping off that field, seeing Joe Milton come over and hug him. The relationship that those guys have formed, man. Somebody even put on Twitter yesterday that it would be a nice little shout out if Joe Milton were to go out and wear number 5 on Saturday. And I personally would love to see that because of the brotherhood that they've had and, the quarterback competition, Milton winning and then Hooker coming in when Milton gets hurt. And the fact that those two are so close, I think that speaks a lot to who they are as people, but also who is leading them and Josh Heupel and the way he's been able to kind of forge that relationship. Talk a little bit about Hendon Hooker, how special he is, and then we'll kind of move into Joe Milton. And it's time for Joe to step up.
Oh man. Dude, he's been great. I mean, breaking news, right? His Tennessee career was so short. I mean, it's almost like you just kind of blink and he was here and he's gone. And I just continue to remember, like, he was brought here by Jeremy Pruitt. Would he have turned into who he is with the old regime? I would assume probably not. Would he have been a decent quarterback at Tennessee? I don't know. But he was brought in by the Jeremy Pruitt regime, and then, of course, Pruitt gets fired, NCAA investigation, all that time. Think of what Hendon Hooker was feeling coming into a new school and then all that happening, a new coach being hired, someone that didn't recruit you, and you're just kind of there. Like, what's going on? I mean, it's the case for a lot of those guys. Byron Young was the same way, a lot of those guys in that class. And then you get here, and then you go through 14, 15 spring practices, and, Josh Heupel thinks so much of you, he goes out and gets a quarterback, from Michigan to come in and, quote unquote, that's the end of your starting situation because Joe Milton was going to be the guy. But for those two to forge that relationship and then Hendon come in and just kind of take off and get better as the season goes on and become more and more in command of the offense. He had total command of the offense this year. He could make checks at the line. He could change the plays. He could slow down the pace. He could speed up the pace. He had total command. And there's not been a quarterback at Tennessee since. I mean, he did a lot of things better than Josh Dobbs. I mean, he's leaving a legacy here at Tennessee in terms of stats and all that, to where he is absolutely top 4, top 2 in some categories. So, but more than that, just the way that he led this team, and you can see that a lot with how his teammates speak about him when they come to bat for him. Whenever he's tackled, a little rough, and you see all those offensive linemen sprinting over to kick the tail of whoever just hit him out of bounds or whatever. That's lasting. So you hate to see him get hurt that way. It's unfortunate. It's football, and I mean, sports are cruel, right? Football's cruel sometimes. It's non-contact injury. As soon as it happened, you knew exactly what it was. I've seen it so many times. He'll recover. He'll have an opportunity at the NFL. But man, what a quick little ride it's been. But it's been one that Tennessee fans will never forget the name of Hendon Hooker snapping the 15-game losing skid to Alabama, beating Florida all as a senior, firmly cemented himself as a Heisman candidate for 11 weeks of the year. He was fantastic. And I think he was really good at the most important position of all sports, and he played for your team. So hats off to a great Tennessee career for Hendon Hooker and a college career. I mean, he was here for a decade.
I think man, talking about the Alabama win, the LSU win, boat racing Kentucky, it's so many people have forgotten that took place just because of what happened Saturday night at South Carolina. Don't let that ruin what this football team has done. They have done some special things, ending the streak to Alabama, storming the field, celebrating, lighting up the cigars. We have had so many fun moments throughout the course of this year. And I get it. I understand people being upset and frustrated and mad. I get it. And it's okay. Just don't let it ruin what this football team has done throughout the year. It's a 12-game season, and Tennessee is still looking at 10-2 right in the face. We got 265 people watching live. Thank you guys for joining us on this Monday morning. Make sure you smash the thumbs up, share the link out, let somebody know we're live. Put it on Twitter, Facebook. Call up your aunt or uncle. Let them know Talkin VAWLS is talking a little Tennessee football. You mentioned the Heisman Trophy. Obviously, Heisman Trophy winner is no longer on the table. That's gone. You think they would send him to New York? I think he should. I think he earned the right. What he's done for this football team, the way he's played, the fact that I think it's kind of a 1-2 race, him and the kid at Ohio State.
Yeah.
I think Hendon Hooker deserves to be in New York as a finalist.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not going to act like I'm a expert on the Heisman Trophy race. I mean, there's never been a Tennessee player up for it in recent memory. So
nobody's an
very well
expert
could
on the
still
Heisman Trophy. Nobody is.
There very well still could be a chance where Hendon Hooker goes to New York and is a finalist. I just look at the Heisman Trophy to where they typically consider the best guy on the best team or the best undefeated team or the best one-loss team, and it's very much a team. The team success weighs heavily into that, and of course now Tennessee's still a good team, but now has 2 losses. So we'll see. And Hendon Hooker obviously is not going to play next week, so not a chance to add to his stats. Is there a situation where Hendon Hooker still is a finalist and goes to New York? Yeah, potentially. We'll see. I don't know if that'll happen now. We'll see. He's deserving. I think he should be there. Man, his stats are good. Tennessee obviously was a really, really good football team this year, had some really, really good wins, debuted at number 1 in the college football playoff rankings a month ago. I mean, gosh, that seems like forever ago. So we'll see if he's still a finalist, still an opportunity. It was, in my opinion, before the loss, it was a shoe-in. And now with the loss, it's very much in question.
I got a super chat here from Maria Hurst. Nothing to say, just a tip in the tip jar. Thank you, Maria. We appreciate that. Joe Milton. Joe Milton's going to take the lead on Saturday against Vanderbilt. We've seen him in mop-up time. He's looked great. He's made some great throws. There's a difference between mop-up time and coming in when the game's on the line. When a New Year's Six Bowl is on the line. Again, still a lot to play for on Saturday. He got a little bit of time against South Carolina. The game was already out of hand, but he seemed to be actually operating the offense, right? It wasn't as loosey-goosey and just have some fun and sling it down the field to Squirrel White. 4 of 8, 108 yards, a touchdown. What'd you think of Joe Milton in an actual kind of true game situation, even though still not so much? I didn't think he looked as efficient as we were hoping. What do you think? What do you think he's going to look like on Saturday?
Yeah, he still slung it down and had a little fun to Squirrel White there at one point in the game, 64 yards and just beautiful. I'm intrigued to see what Joe looks like. I mean, I wish he would develop a changeup. I mean, goodness gracious, he still throws at 117 miles an hour, and it's unneeded. Looks good doing it, but it's just like, come on, man, slow it down a little bit. I want to see what Joe Milton looks like 0-0 in the first quarter. I do, because even though the game was out of reach, and even though we had essentially a quarter or a couple of drives to kind of work and run the offense and everything, there was still no pressure on him because Tennessee wasn't winning that football game at that point in time. I want to see the decisions he makes. I want to see what this offense looks like. Hooker, you could scan back there and go through 1 read, 2 read, 3 read, and go. And of course, had the ability, like I said, to check off things and flip the runs or whatever you wanted to do. I don't know if Milton will have that ability in this offense. I think Milton might be a 1 to 2 read guy, right? You might scanning one side of the field. Are they going to run Joe Milton a lot? They ran him when he came in the football game with the quarterback draw, and it looked really good. And I would love to see that. But Joe Milton's your only scholarship quarterback healthy right now. I mean, you've got Hendon out, Taven Jackson collarbone out. And there it is. I mean, he's your only scholarship quarterback. Gaston Moore will be the backup quarterback on Saturday. Navy Schuler's an option as well. Those are 2 walk-ons. So you want to be protective with him as well. Don't just run him to run him with a purpose. So we'll see. But he's done good when he's come in the opportunities. He can only play when given the opportunity this year as a backup quarterback. He's done well in that regard. But I'm not sure that we will know exactly how much he has progressed until we see him 0-0 ball game in the first quarter. So, no, Vanderbilt's going to be a really good opportunity for him. He'll get that. He'll get the bowl game as well. And I think we all assume that he's going to be the starting quarterback in 2023. But, this is kind of an early, audition to maybe cement that starting quarterback role here in the latter 2 games of the 2022 season.
Yeah, I said when Hooker went down, I was like, okay, this is Joe Milton's audition. This is his audition to see what this offense is going to look like with him at the helm. I'm excited, man. I'm a big Joe Milton fan. Everybody in the chat knows that. I like Joe. I like the way he handled getting benched. I like it. I think it speaks volumes about him as a kid. He could have transferred out. He could have transferred down, gone somewhere else and started. He chose to stay here and ride it out. And now he's going to have an opportunity. So I'm excited to see what he does. Eric, it's always a pleasure to have you on, buddy. Everybody go check out Locked On Vols. Most of you guys already do, but if you don't, go check it out. Good show this morning. We'll do some more crossover. I'm always over there every Friday. Go check it out. I think this may be the last morning show for a while. We'll see. We may do one after Vanderbilt. We may do the schedule kind of goes out the window after the regular season. But Eric will be around. I'll be hanging out with him. Appreciate you coming on, buddy. Everybody go check out Locked On Vols.
Appreciate it, man. Hey, and again, I know Saturday sucks, guys, but football game this Saturday and a bowl game. That's all she wrote, and then we're done for, a year. So enjoy it. Love football, and Tennessee is still an opportunity to win 10 games. So looking forward to Saturday. Thanks, Boogie.
All right, later, buddy. Let me do a little shields, a little bit of plug. Still got 315 people watching live right now. Appreciate you guys hanging out on this Monday morning show. Smash the thumbs up, share the thing out, share it out on Twitter, Facebook, let somebody know we're live. We're going to get Big Vol Daddy in here in just a second. Also, go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin Vols Network. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin Vols. Love to see you guys repping our merch. If you got Talkin Vols merch, put it on. If you're in Neyland Stadium, if you go to a road game, if you're hanging out with your buddies, put it on, tweet it out, tag us up on Twitter. You can tag me at Boogie Bentley. I would love to see you guys repping that Talkin Vols merch. We appreciate the way you guys support this brand. It is a community, man. It is a community. I know I touched on that a little bit earlier. Look, when Uncle Lou came on the show, a lot of Georgia fans came with him, and that's cool. They're welcome here. They're going to talk their trash. They're going to do what they do. That's fine. Let it happen. Mods, ignore it. Just hang out and still enjoy what we do here on the Talkin Vols Network, because this is your channel, and we appreciate you guys. Let's get Big Vol Daddy on here. Every time you come on the show, it's always like 12 people on here. They talk over you. It's chaotic. Man, I want to get you on here and hang out one-on-one, and unfortunately, we're gonna get through this together, I guess. We're gonna be depressed.
Yeah, depressed. That's a good word for this, Boogie. You and Eric were talking about, is this the worst loss ever for me in my lifetime? Definitely. And I've seen the Wyoming game. I was there for that. I've seen the Georgia State game, and even worse than that, the Memphis game. Back in, 96, I think, when Peyton was quarterback and they had their miracle 1 win over us. So it's bad, and I know the further we get away from the South Carolina game, the better we'll feel about this season. But right now, man, good Lord, does it sting.
And it's like we said when Eric was on, man, the more you win, the more success you have, the more the expectations shift. It's just so heartbreaking. 10-2, yeah, great season. 10-2 is a great season. But like you said, the further we get away, we're still going to look back and go, man, 10-2 was a great season. But what if? But what if? That seems to be the cards we've been dealt for a long time, long time. What if? What if they would have beat South Carolina? What if they would have got a rematch? But no excuse, man. You just went out and you got whipped on Saturday night. Like people, the Georgia fans, the Alabama fans, the Florida fans, whoever floods into the chat and comments, they like to say, "Oh, excuses." Nobody's making excuses, man. South Carolina just beat the brakes off of Tennessee, and there's nothing we can say about it.
Yeah, that was that's what makes it so worse. If we'd lost in a close game, it would have definitely still stung. But nothing like this. I mean, this was just embarrassing. How do you give up 9 touchdowns out of 10 drives? I mean, pathetic doesn't even describe how bad our defense was. It wouldn't have mattered if Jeremy Banks was there or not. He couldn't cover all their receivers. I feel a whole lot better today than I did yesterday, but it's still, man, what a great year this team was set up to have, and we can still beat Vandy, and I hope the Tennessee fans don't go crazy like they did before the Carolina game. I hope the ESPN talking heads aren't on there. Oh, Tennessee's going to score 50. No, they're going to, everybody was talking about how we were just going to railroad South Carolina, and that had to fire up the South Carolina team. When have you ever seen that team and that quarterback play like that? Never, never. Not under Spurrier, not under Holtz, not under go back to Brad Scott. Never. That team, if that's not the greatest win in their program history, the only one I can think of that might have been bigger to them was beating Alabama back in 10. So that embarrassing even almost doesn't describe it. But hey, look, we're both ball fans. We're both going to get up this Saturday for the game and be excited. Hopefully, I'm excited to see what Joe Milton does. And you were talking about will he be the starting quarterback next year? And my buddy Lawtide brought up a good point. You're going to really put a $7 million man on the bench? I think it would be nuts to trot Nico out there in game 1 last year as the starter when you got a Joe Milton. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree. I agree. The money is definitely an issue. And, people talking about the money being the deal with Jeremy Banks and Hendon Hooker. I don't think that was the case. I don't. But every college coach in the country is going to have to deal with this, right? Your quarterbacks are always going to be making the most when it comes to NIL. It is what it is. Just like the NFL, people want to say, oh, it's going to ruin college football. And maybe it does, but it's the same thing in the NFL. The quarterbacks are the ones that get paid. It's a quarterback game. So they're going to have to deal with that. I would think that there have been conversations with Nico that, hey, we want you here. You're the priority. You're going to have every opportunity to come in and win this job. He's going to be an early enrollee, so that'll help him. He'll come in and get the spring. We'll see what he looks like. And maybe you can't deny it. Maybe he's just got that God-given $8 million arm, right? And maybe he comes in and wins the job. But there's something to be said about Joe Milton having 2 full years in the system. Like, look at Hendon. Like, Hendon Hooker was great last year. He was on another level this year. He was dialed in year 2 in the system. Joe Milton's going to have 2 full years under his belt going into spring camp. And, my thing is, I think Joe Milton starts day 1. Does Nico win the job before the year's over? Maybe.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said last night, word for word almost.
Cody Branch says if Milton doesn't start, then what it says to me is he is too good to keep off the field. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. The chat's been going nuts all morning about this defense. And, of course, that's the story. South Carolina scoring 63 points. Spencer Rattler, that was the Spencer Rattler that terrified me in the offseason. That's the quarterback that I was warning everybody about. That's the quarterback that I said, guys, South Carolina's a toss-up game. Tennessee can lose that game. Boogie, you're stupid. Boogie, 45-20. Boogie, you don't know what you're talking about. We got that Spencer Rattler. But this Tennessee defense was awful. A lot of people talking about Tim Banks. A lot of people talking about Willie Martinez. This dude, I think that's the only thing he's put in the chat all morning is fire Tim Banks all morning long. Gone nonstop with it. What do you think about this Tennessee defense? Because Tim Banks was tough to hire. Josh Heupel had a hard time. Like, that defensive coordinator search went on for a long time because what defensive coordinator wants to come in here knowing, hey, this offense is going to put you in some bad situations. Your numbers are never going to look good. Your points per game, yards per game, it's never going to look good because you're going to be on the field so much. What do you think about Tim Banks? What do you think about people wanting to fire Tim Banks? What's the answer?
I think people wanting to fire Tim Banks is the obvious thing you're going to get from fans after a game like that. Look at Sal Sunseri. That's the closest Tennessee defense has looked to a Sal Sunseri defense since Sal Sunseri. I don't think you fire Tim Banks. I think that just creates a worse situation for our defense because, like you said, we had a hard time finding one. And who out there is going to want to come to Tennessee when they know their defense is going to be on the field, 70, 65, 60% of the game. It's tough. Willie Martinez, different story. I've never liked that guy. as a coordinator or as a assistant. Just never have. I don't know what it is, but it seems to me like his time may have passed as a coach, at least at this level. Maybe he can go to a Western Kentucky or somewhere like that and coach a good defense there. But our DBs and our secondary have looked worse than a lot of high school football teams I've seen play this year. And I'm not joking. I'm being serious. That game, there's absolutely no excuse. If we'd have put 11 walk-ons in that game on defense Saturday, I don't think they would have given up 9 touchdowns. So I don't know what the kids were thinking. I don't know if they were thinking. But I don't think firing Tim Banks is the right answer right now. I think we learned our lesson with Fulmer when they fired him and oh God, what's his name? The coach at Wake Forest, Dave Clawson. Yeah, yeah. I mean, who knows what would have happened if we'd have given Clawson and Fulmer another year? I don't think he'd be here now because that was eons ago. But who knows? So I don't think firing Banks is the right answer. And I want to ask you a question. I don't watch every Talkin VAWLS show because
it's impossible. Nobody.
Yeah,
I don't watch
yeah.
them either. I wouldn't listen to me talk.
What's your thoughts on this being a gimmick offense? I can't stand that term. I can't stand the minions that are running around saying, "Oh, it's a gimmick offense." It's not a gimmick offense. They only run 11, 14 plays a game. There's a lot of offenses that only run 11 to 14 plays a game. I mean, how many different plays can you really run in a game unless you're playing like South Carolina Saturday night and you're throwing the kitchen sink at us? I mean, they literally looked like they ran every play in the Beamer playbook. What are your thoughts on the gimmick?
They're averaging 46.5 points a game in the SEC. At the end of the year, they played Alabama. They played LSU. They played Georgia. They played everybody in the SEC, and they're averaging almost 50 points a game. People throw the term gimmick offense out there because they know that it triggers people. They know that it pisses you off. That's why
it triggers me. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're trying to devalue what this offense is. I don't care. It's like playing Madden. If I can play Madden, when I play NCAA on Sunday nights, the biggest thing I get is call Hail Mary and put the running back out in the flats. It's open every time. Like it's cheese. It's cheese if you want to do it. But if it works, if I run the same play over and over and over and it beats you and you can't stop it, is it a gimmick or do you just not know how to stop it? You just don't know how to stop it. Who cares? Like, I don't care what it is. I don't care. It's like the uniforms. I don't care if they run out there in pink uniforms and they call Hail Mary every play. If we score 50 points a game, who cares? But what it comes down to is, like I said, they say it because they know it makes us mad. That's why they say it. Josh Heupel's offense is proven. It works. The question was, does it work in the SEC? Well, it sure worked when he was the offensive coordinator at Missouri. Now it's working year 2 at Tennessee. A lot of people were saying, what's Tennessee going to look like in year 2 when everybody figures out their offense? Oh, I don't know. They only got better. So call it whatever you want to call it. It works. Papa T for $10. Thank you for the super chat. Says, Boogie, my friend, yes, it's frustrating with the Georgia, now South Carolina loss. Had to flip the page and realize the 10-2 season in the Cotton Bowl is significant progress. Appreciate the super chat, Papa T. That's how do we, like I said to Eric, how do you get away from this thing, get away from this South Carolina game, and just look back on it and say 10-2, make it to the Cotton Bowl, make it to a New Year's Six Bowl. That's still a big year for Tennessee.
It is. I mean, how long has it been since we've been to a New Year's Six Bowl? Again, the farther away we get from it, if we go out and beat Vandy, no matter how it gets done, me personally, I'd prefer to score 50 or 60 on them because I hate Vandy that much. But even if we go out and get a 1-score win, and then you got a month between then and a bowl game, that puts us farther and farther away from the crap. I noticed a comment, forget who it was in the comments, said y'all can't handle success. I don't know if he's talking about the fan base or the university, but I've been saying for a couple of years on YouTube now that this is just the Tennessee way. Right now it's the Tennessee way for our athletic teams to have great regular seasons, build us up, get us all riled up as a fan base, and then let us down. And a lot of Tennessee fans don't like to hear that, but it's the truth. It is the truth, and it sucks, man. I mean, when are we going to get over that hump to where, we're relevant at the end of the year instead of in the middle? And don't get me wrong, being number one for the first college football playoff rankings was great. I hated it. I didn't want to be number one. I thought that put a humongous target on our back, and look what happened in Athens. So that's just my stance on athletics right now at Tennessee, but I'm going to wake up every day and don the orange no matter what day of the week it is. When it's in your blood, it's in your blood.
That's and not to change gears and start talking about basketball and baseball, but it is, it's like the Rick Barnes conversation. At what point, like he does so great, but he, when he was hired, Texas fans laughed and said, y'all are going to hate him. He's gonna do some great things, but he's never going to win the big one. And that's the story. But it's like, man, it sounds like such entitled, I don't know, BS. It's like, well, if you can't win a national championship, we're going to fire you. Tony Vitello, that's a different story. That baseball is a different sport, though. I'm a baseball guy. I love baseball. That regular season team dominated. They dominated.
Amazing.
Tony Vitello is going to win a national championship. He's going to win a national championship. There's no question about it. He's too good of a coach. They're going to bring in too much talent. He's going to win a national championship. Baseball they just got to get hot at the right time. That's the difference.
Yeah, and we're not going to see another season like last year, maybe ever. That was something special. And that's what made not making it to the World Series. Wait a minute. Yeah, we didn't make it last year, did we?
No,
that's right.
Got knocked out by Notre Dame.
Oh, no. Oh, God. How painful was
what
that?
What are we doing this to ourselves for?
You know what? When that happened, when I saw we were going to play Notre Dame, I knew we were going to lose because I knew that was a good team. And, I'm going to stop, man. I just
You're taking us down a dark path.
Yeah, it's like sticking a syringe in your neck and pushing the plunger, and it's horrible. But we'll be all right. Tennessee will have a great season in basketball as long as they don't pull another Colorado. We'll lose 4 or 5 SEC games probably. Kentucky might beat us this year. I don't know. They haven't had a lot of success at that lately. So stick that in your backpacks and tote it around for a little while, Kentucky fans. But we'll see. We have to get ready soon to change gears and get ready for basketball and put that Colorado embarrassment behind us. But they're playing good ball. I mean, Colorado's not a terrible team. I'm not making excuses. There's no way we should have lost that game. But anyway, we still got football season. We still got Vandy. We're still going to punch them right in the face Saturday and win by 30. That's
another super chat here from Dylan. Thank you for super chat. Says we've got some great recruits coming in on defense, tons of pass rushers and lockdown corners. Just develop them, and this defense is going to be set for a few years. I agree with that. Tennessee does have some true corners coming in, but the frustrating part, and it's you need guys now. You need them now, and I think the transfer portal, Tennessee, I think they'll still have some success. But you'd be crazy if you didn't think, did that South Carolina loss? Does that open the eyes of some kids in the portal, some recruits? Do they question? I love Austin Price over at VolQuest, and he said, a lot of kids don't put too much into one game because we got David Hobbs set to commit coming up on Friday. Just a reminder to everybody in the chat, we're going to live stream that commitment. He's supposed to make his announcement at 5. We'll probably go live around 4:30 or so, carry you all the way through. We'll stream snipe the commitment and then talk after. And people were asking about Hobbs, and, AP said, kids don't put so much into, just one loss. But I think Tennessee's going to have some success in the portal, but I think they definitely need to get some true corners. They need true corners. They need help at tight end. Do they add a running back? There's a lot that Tennessee needs to get in the portal. Evan Counts for another 5. Thank you for the super chat. Your content is medicine. When I first read that, I thought it said mediocre. I was like, well, thanks for paying to insult me. Evan says your content is medicine. The more the better right now. Thank you, man. Appreciate that, Evan. Appreciate the super chat. And somebody talking about Big Vol Daddy in the chat. Yeah, we want to get Big Vol Daddy on here more. Kelly Goodwin says, what is happening? Big Vol Daddy in the house. Yeah, I wanted to get him on here one-on-one so we could just talk some Tennessee football instead of the fan call-in shows are always so chaotic. Schedule worked out good for this morning to get Big Ball Daddy on here. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think the loss to South Carolina, does it impact recruiting or the portal? Do you think kids don't put too much into one game?
I mean, it might affect somebody that's trying to weigh whether or not they want to come to South Carolina or Tennessee. And by the way, real quick subject change, and I get back. If you want to see more Big Ball Daddy, I have a channel too, so you guys are welcome to come over there. There's plenty of love and plenty of room for both of us. So I'm trying to get back in and regrow my channel. I lost a lot of momentum over the last year and a half with all the health issues, but hopefully I'm through that field of hell and doing better. But anyway, yeah, I'm with you. I don't think kids think about one game. You know, there might have been some kids in Willie B Saturday night that were thinking about maybe going to Tennessee that changed their mind. But I would think, to me, if you're a hardcore athlete and you're driven for success and you want to do the best you can, there's no better place to come than right now to get to display your talents, as the kids like to say. I mean, you can walk in your first year and be starting in our defensive backfield right now.
Mike Stoker says Hobbs is a fool if he don't go to Georgia. Well, I guess he's a fool. You're going to be heartbroken on Friday, Mike. So stick around. Hobbs is coming to Tennessee.
Georgia needs a little heartbreak, Boogie.
Yeah, they do. God, they need to be humbled is what they need. That's the most frustrating thing about their fan base. They were awful before the national championship. Now they're unbearable, and you can't say anything.
That was to be expected. I mean, I've always said they're the most insufferable fan base in the SEC, if not the country. But we all have that one fan base that we can't stand. It's always been Georgia for me. As much as I hate Alabama, as much as we've suffered at the hands of those guys for years, their fan base has always been great to me. And it's called a gentleman's rivalry for a reason. There's the hate, but there's also the respect. And don't seem to have that with the Georgia fans since they're on their little run right now. And they've passed us in all-time wins. They've passed us. Well, not yet. They haven't passed us yet. They're still a couple away. Passed us in head-to-head wins, tied us in SEC championships. All that crap matters to fans because at the end of the day, as a Tennessee fan, what else did you have to hang your hat on? As bad as we've been playing the last few years up to these last 2 years. It is what it is. You know,
I don't know if there's 350 people watching live right now. I don't know if they know what I think about Georgia fans, so let me remind them. I don't believe there are good people that pull for Georgia. I think they're all terrible, ugly, disgusting human beings. I think it's just that no, there are no good Georgia fans, Eric. There are none. That's just a little reminder of what I think. No, you know, it's a joke. It's a bit. It's never. To quote Star Wars like a true nerd, never speak in absolutes. Only the Sith speak in absolutes. It's never everybody. It's never everybody, right? Even our fan base has some people that are unbearable, and it is what it is. But yeah, Georgia. Look, I know why there's so many Georgia fans in the chat. I'm not stupid. I did it to myself. But hey, they're welcome. If they want to be part of the 350 watching, they're welcome. Just hit the thumbs up or hit the thumbs down. I don't really care. It's fine. Whatever you want to do. You're here watching me and Big Ball Daddy talk about Tennessee sports. Stick around long enough, you'll start to actually like us. That's what typically happens. Look at Alan V. He's that crazy uncle at the barbecue that's drunk and annoying, but he's welcome here. He's welcome here. He's a member of the channel. Alan is a paying member of the channel as a Georgia fan. Colby is a paying member of the channel as a Georgia fan. Those dudes, they're going to talk some trash, but they're welcome here. It's part of it. It is what it is. We got Vanderbilt coming up on Saturday, Big Ball Daddy. Tennessee, 2-touchdown favorite. What do you think about that? The ESPN FPI has them at like 93%, but 2-touchdown favorite. How much of that spread changed based off of one football game?
First of all, I hate these percentages that ESPN throws up. Well, it was Saturday. I think they had us at 60-some% chance of making the playoff, and they had Texas A&M or TCU at like 30-some%. To me, I would think TCU's chances of making the playoffs would have been higher than that. But it is what it is. They got to have something to talk about just like we do. Vandy, 2-touchdown favorite. even with Joe Milton, we still should be able to go out there and run our offense and score 40 at least. I want more. I want to go back to the days when we're hanging 60 on them, you know. But I'll take whatever we get. I don't want a close game because that close games they give me indigestion, they give me heart pain, they give me palpitations. I literally sat in here Saturday night and had to calm myself down. I mean, I was looking for something to break in the house. And the only reason I didn't is because I've only got one leg and I couldn't hop up and walk over to grab something. It's crazy to get that emotional over a college sporting event, but that's what we do. We're fans, we're fanatics. We love our team. We get excited to the point of ridiculousness. And that will never change. It may be, Boogie, I've said for years, and people think I was just joking, but I'm totally not joking when I say Tennessee might give me a heart attack and take me out of this earth before it's all said and done. Wouldn't surprise me.
What a way to go. But hey, man, that is why there are 350 people watching us. That is why you come on the show and they immediately start going nuts. Big Vol Daddy's here. This is awesome. Love having Big Vol Daddy on.
I appreciate you guys for that.
Everybody in this chat is exactly like us. We've missed family events. We've missed weddings. We've missed birthdays and holidays. And I'm not proud of it, but it's who I am. It's who we are. We're further than fanatics. We're more than fanatics. We're lunatics. We're psychotic.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Like you said,
Delusional.
It's a college sport that we have no control over, and it controls our emotions for days after the game. I mean, weeks. We can sit and talk about games from years ago and remember I will never forget standing there when Jay Cutler and Vanderbilt beat Tennessee, standing in Neyland Stadium, looking at an empty field, going, what just happened? We are different. We are obsessed, Big Vol Daddy. We're obsessed.
Did you ever see this dry run coming? Would you ever growing up think this team will suck for 15 years?
No, because how old are you?
I'm 55.
I'm 41. So my generation is probably even worse than yours because you experienced some of the down times before my generation came in. My generation came in and they were just great. There were some struggles early in my life, but I was too young to know or care, right? I lived through the Al Wilsons and the Leonard Littles and when November rolls around and you're playing Vanderbilt, South Carolina, whoever, it doesn't matter. You're just going to go dominate. So no, and I was in high school when they won the national championship. I enjoyed it. I watched it with Florida State fans and loved every second of it. And after the game, the guy's wife, he was my baseball coach. His wife said, well, at least it wasn't Peyton Manning that beat us. I said, do you think I care who the quarterback was?
Really?
No, I enjoyed it. But no, to answer your question, I never saw this drought coming because I was spoiled.
What do you think about T. Martin? Where do you put him on the list of Tennessee great quarterbacks? Because me personally, I didn't think T. Martin was a great quarterback. I think he had all the tools around him to help him better his look, if you want to say. He was a good quarterback for sure, but I don't think anybody's ever going to look at T. Martin just for his body of work and say, wow, what a great quarterback. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, look at the defense in 98. That it was a different game back then, right? It was a different game. It was a game back when defense truly did win championships. Now it's an offensive game. It's a quarterback game.
But you still got to have that defense, Boogie.
You do. You got to have. I don't think you have to have an elite defense. Like everybody's going to say, well, Georgia. Yeah, I know. I get it, Georgia. But I don't think you have to have an elite defense. I think you have to have a good defense, an efficient defense. Clearly, you can't give up 63 points to South Carolina. But that 98 team, T. Martin was the right guy at the right time, man. Like, he has to go down as a Tennessee legend because he won a national championship. But as far as pure quarterbacks, what did he do after college? Right. I think that tells you how good of a quarterback you truly are. But
and don't get me wrong, chat. I love T. Martin. I've met him a couple of times. He's a great dude. Did great things on and off the field at Tennessee. He wasn't a dumbass. He didn't He wasn't a Tyler Bray. He wasn't throwing golf bottles and beer bottles off his balcony. So I love me some T. Martin. Don't get me wrong. I was just trying to see where your thoughts were ranking him as a quote unquote great college football quarterback, because I don't think anybody nationally would put him in their top 10. But that's okay. He got us a natty. You can put him at 50, and we're still going to love him.
Kevin, I'll say Georgia 572 times if you want me to, because I hate them. Let's see. I wouldn't say Georgia if you guys didn't live in the comments. Like, you live in the comments, you live in the chat. So I will address you. You wait a second. You got me off track there, Kevin. You got me off track. It's so funny. People are like, why does Boogie talk about Georgia so much? Because you guys never shut up in the chat. Like these are the ones that make me laugh. Living rent free. I'm on here on a Monday morning, getting paid, talking to Big Vol Daddy, having a good time, talking Tennessee football. You're in our chat of a channel called Talkin VAWLS Network. Who's in whose head? Like, you're welcome. It's cool. You guys can hang out all you want, but I'm going to address you and I'll take shots at you because it's fun. Trey for $5. Thank you for the super chat. Wait, is that Gabe? Oh, Gabe. They're talking. Gabe sure didn't age well on his trip. Just kidding. Big Vol Daddy, thanks for helping Boogie out this morning. Go Vols. Always great to get Big Vol Daddy insight. Yeah, it was a stressful trip for Gabe. I don't know if you've ever seen Gabe on the show. He's a young kid. He's like 20, but he's great, man.
Has he got the big hair?
Yeah.
Big hair.
He started wearing a hat because everybody made fun of his hair.
Yeah.
So
well, I wasn't making fun of it. Big hair. I'd like to have big hair again.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I wear a hat because I don't have hair. So
yeah,
enjoy it while you got it, young man.
Yeah, for sure. Enjoy a lot of things while you're young, because before you know it, just like football season ends, before you know it, you'll be 55, may or may not be going through health issues, but you'll be looking at your 20s saying, damn, man, that was great. I'd like to be 25 again instead of 55, but you can still love your Vols no matter how old you are, kids. Just remember that. Love your mom and dad, love your Vols, and everything will be peachy keen in your life for sure.
One day, mom and dad's going to be gone, and you're going to wish you could pick up. We're getting real weird. We're getting real weird on the morning show, but hey, that's what I love this community. But one day, like, my mom's gone. She's been gone for 5 years. And every single day, I wish I could pick up the phone and call her. But we sound like those old guys, right? It's like, you remember them when you were young and they were like, hey, man, one day you're going to get old and you're going to look back and it's like, shut up, old man. I'm 20. You can't stop me. I'm invincible. I'm never going to die. Then you start getting to the back nine of life and you look back and say, damn, I should have enjoyed it. And it's like, to bring it back to football, that's why I keep preaching to people, enjoy the ride. Don't let a loss to South Carolina take away that Alabama game. Man, what a night. What a night that was. I got emotional. A lot of people got emotional because again, that's how much we care about Tennessee football. And that's why, because of being spoiled in the 90s and the early 2000s, I keep telling these young people like Gabe, enjoy it, man. Like, enjoy this ride. When we were ranked number 1, enjoy it. Who cares? Like, yeah, it's gone today, but guess what? You can't take it away from us. You can't take away the road win over LSU. You can't take away boat racing Kentucky. You can't take away ending the streak to Alabama. Enjoy the ride, man. Life is short. Enjoy the ride. And if UT football is something that you love and care about, enjoy it. Drink it in. Soak it in every single game.
One thing you and I haven't talked about that I want to get your opinion, and I'm pretty sure I know what your opinion is going to be. Jamal Haddon, what an idiot. And I usually don't call kids idiots, as pissed off as I get sometimes at our team, but seriously, Boogie, what an idiot. What's going through the head of a kid, a grown-ass man, a teenager, a 20-year-old, when you're literally getting your ass handed to you by the other team and you're out there down by 25, 30 points, talking smack to the guy in front of you, talking smack to the guys on the sidelines. What's going through your head? And as a South Carolina player, my only answer would be point to the scoreboard.
Yeah. I never go in hard on a kid that gets beat. I never come on here and I'll talk about it. Like when Jarrett Garantano was here, I'm going to talk about that he was struggling at times, but his aunt, Jarrett Garantano's aunt, used to listen to the show, and she messaged me one time. Nobody knew she was in the chat, and she said, "I just want to thank you for treating Jarrett like a human instead of just destroying him. But when you come out and you act like Kamal Haddon did on Saturday, that's not football. That's not football. That's you embarrassed yourself, and you embarrassed the University of Tennessee. You look like an absolute clown. Absolute clown." And, I don't have a problem with a little bit of swag, a little bit of cockiness, a little bit of trash talking if you're doing your job. But like you said, he was getting torched all night long, absolutely all night long, and never shut up. He talked trash to the players. He talked trash to Shane Beamer. I don't know what Shane Beamer said back to him. Shane Beamer needs to keep his mouth shut too. You're a grown man. Like, shut your mouth. Like, if Kamal Haddon's talking trash to you as a coach, shut up and walk away. Like, he looked like an idiot too, but yeah, Haddon, absolute clown, embarrassed himself on Saturday. Tennessee's got to find some corners. I don't know what the answer is.
No, you just said it. They've got to find some corners because, there's no way Vandy will torch us, I don't think, like South Carolina did, because Rattler and that offense were just out of their minds Saturday night. It's like they were playing the game that they dreamed about as kids, the perfect game. Rattler couldn't miss. Even when he got knocked on his back, he gets up and throws a 25-yard completion on 3rd and 20. I mean, the kid was, like you said earlier, that's the Rattler that everybody wanted to see, and that's the Rattler that scared the shit out of me looking ahead at this game. And I'm like you, when I looked at this game in the preseason, I thought, because it's at Williams-Brice, didn't know it was going to be a night game, but I said that is a game that's a toss-up. For some daggone reason, South Carolina has been that team that when we had the better team and should have won, they bite us in the ass. And I'm from the years I used to, when I lived in Raleigh, North Carolina, every other year I would go to Columbia to watch the Tennessee-South Carolina game because A, they have great parking, B, their fan base was awesome to me, and C, I knew it was a guaranteed win. So that's always been a great road trip for me. Don't know if I'll ever make it back down there or not. Those times are different now. But yeah, I like I said, I want to murder Vanderbilt. Can't let their little win streak in the SEC get to 3, especially at our expense. If we lose to Vandy, as bad as it's been with the other fan bases right now, there's even been some Bama fans giving us crap. It's like, shut up, you lost. But if that happens, the cliffs will be packed full of balls this weekend. The cliffs and the ledges.
Knoxville Predator catcher for 2. Thank you for Super Chat. Tennessee's best players in the Hall of Fame. Georgia's is a politician. Thank you for the Super Chat, Knoxville Predator catcher. If this team, when Jeremy Pruitt was coaching, when they lost to Georgia State, we had to come on here and do a post-game show, and JP said, Jeremy Pruitt will never be successful at Tennessee. And I said, JP, you can't put so much into one game. He was right. A big, huge red flag should have gone up for me, but I'm the ultimate optimist. I stick around forever. People, I make a video every Sunday called The Day After, and it's where, I sleep on the game, wake up, and try to truly put thoughts together versus an emotional, psychotic post-game show. Right. And somebody commented on it this week and said, how in the world can you be so positive after losing 63-38? I'm the ultimate optimist. I give coaches way too long. I believed in Derek Dooley far longer than I ever should have. Same with Butch. Same with I turned on Pruitt pretty quick. But even after the Georgia State loss, I was like, he needs more time. Let him figure it out. If Tennessee loses to Vanderbilt,
big if,
how much criticism is fair? Will that not send up a big red flag for you about Josh Heupel?
No,
it wouldn't. Are you like me, though? Are you the ultimate optimist?
I am pretty optimistic when it comes to Tennessee, which is kind of funny because game days, I'm usually one of the most negative people. There's no, when they got up 14-7, I was like, no way, we're coming back. We're beat, I was already thinking about what kind of video I was going to make after the game. But then when it was 35-31, I'm like, okay, we got this. We're going to Missouri them in the second half. And then we know what happened from there. But yeah, I am pretty optimistic. I didn't like the hire when we first got him. Just like with Pruitt, all the Georgia fans tried to warn me, you're going to hate him. He's going to be a douchebag. I'll give him 2-3 years tops. And they were right. I didn't want to believe them because they're Georgia fans. And I felt like maybe they might have been a little bitter because he left as he was the coordinator there, wasn't he? Defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I thought, that's just a bitter pill affecting their thoughts. But they were right, man. Everything they said about him was spot on. And he can't get far enough away from Knoxville for me.
Thank you, Jason Easter, for becoming a member of the channel. Appreciate that. If you guys want to financially support what we do around here, hit that join button down below. It's as little as 99 cents a month, or you can give a little bit more if you want. You get custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. You get a power T beside your name. Somebody in the chat, when I was talking about all the trolls in the chat, somebody said only engage with the people with a power T beside their name, the members of the channel. But thank you, Jason, for joining. We appreciate it. Dang it, the chat moved. I had a comment here. Michael says, this coaching staff has taken what they had and made a great team. To me, that's a great coaching staff. Yeah, I'm not going to go back on my words. Everything I've said this year, I stick to. What they've done with this team has been incredible. I truly believe we have coaches that develop talent. I truly believe that. I think we've seen up until South Carolina, we've seen this team get better and better. We saw the defense get better and better. And that's why everything that happened with that defense Saturday night, that's why I question the Jeremy Banks versus Hendon Hooker stuff. And, I get it. Eric is media, and Eric's going to say what he says and do what he does based on his platform and what he does. We're fans. That's the beauty of the Talkin VAWLS network. I can get on here and speculate and talk about rumors. But I always clarify, if it's a rumor, it's a rumor. And we still don't know exactly what happened with Jeremy Banks and Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on all that? It sounds like it is actually the fact that Jeremy Banks stepped on the power T. He was supposed to do push-ups, wouldn't do them. Hooker confronted him. Some type of altercation happened. It sounds like it wasn't physical. People were questioning that Joe Milton got involved. It sounds like it was not physical. But the fact, Big Vol Daddy, the fact that Jeremy Banks was left at the house, and to double down on it, after the game, Josh Heupel specifically goes out of his way and says, I hope this one stings a little bit more for the people that didn't make the trip. That's a shot at Jeremy Banks. Something is going on. Yeah. Something is going on there. And did that cause some type of rift in the, and I'm not saying anybody threw the game. I'm not saying the defense threw the game, but is there some tension? Is there some people that are in Hendon Hooker? Look, anybody that's played sports knows you don't get along with everybody on the team. But when you come together on Saturday, you got a job to do. But there's still cliques. You're talking about, 80-some scholarship players? There are cliques and groups. Are people in Jeremy Banks' camp? Are people in Hendon Hooker's camp? What are your thoughts on all of that and how it can impact the team?
It can definitely impact a team. I mean, we see it all the time in college football. Oh, Billy Bob's a cancer in the locker room. I wonder if Jeremy Banks is a cancer in the locker room. We all know the trouble he had a couple of years ago with the police car and blah, blah, blah. And, a lot of us back then were thinking, he's a thug, get rid of him. But Pruitt keeps him around, and he turns into a great football player and an integral part of our defense. But I believe something happened. I don't know. Again, I'm like you. I'm speculating here. If he said something to the captain and most loved guy on the team, Hendon Hooker, then there probably was some kind of close to physical altercation. And I hated to hear that because I'm thinking, man, all we hear is what a great guy Hendon Hooker is. A good Christian. He does things for the community. He's writing children's books or whatever it is he wrote. Hate that he got dragged into some stupidness and you're right, there are cliques in locker rooms from high school on up. We had a rough ending at Greenville this year because of some rifts in the locker room, and it happens, and it can tear a team apart. It can cause a head coach to start second guessing themselves. And I like the fact that Heupel took a shot. The kid Jeremy's lucky to still be at Tennessee. So it'll be interesting to find out exactly, if we ever do. We may never know exactly what happened. I've got a friend on the team. I could text him and ask him what happened, and he may or may not know, and he may or may not tell me. But I'm not going to invade that space, So hopefully we'll find out. But if we don't, move on. You know,
Yeah, it's not that we have to know, right? We don't have to
Right.
know what happened, but you can talk about it and you can discuss it and speculate whether it did cause, and that's why Saturday's going to be very interesting. Can how does this team respond? And nobody's sitting here pretending like because of the rift with Jeremy Banks and Hendon Hooker that Tennessee gave up 63 points. That's not the reason Tennessee gave
No.
up 63 points. Did it impact their mindset? Maybe. A lot goes into it. But Tennessee lost the game. You know, that's part of it. Locker room chemistry is part of athletics. So it is what it is. But I think it's a big thing, man. It's a big thing to see how this team responds. But to anybody that says nothing happened, Josh Heupel would not have said what he said if nothing happened. Something happened.
And it wouldn't have mattered if we had Jeremy Banks, Al Wilson, and Henry Big Toe To'o. They can't cover everybody on that field. And every wide receiver and tight end and back out of the backfield was just running in free space Saturday night. 5-10 yards of free space everywhere you looked. And, you know, one or two guys, especially one guy, couldn't have stopped that. Does the rest of the defense maybe play a little better? Sure, it's possible, but we'll never know. They had Banks's absence had nothing to do with Rattler playing out of his brain, you know. So we can speculate all we want, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Yep. Tennessee's got to go out and take care of business on Saturday. Then they got a big bowl game to play for. They got a big-time bowl game to play for. Vanderbilt's going to show up to play. What they've done the last couple of weeks has been impressive. They got a bowl game on the line themselves. Yep. They are looking to this game now. They see Tennessee as a team they can beat. We'll see how Tennessee responds. Hey, we're going to wrap up this morning show. Guys, thanks for hanging out. Make sure you do smash the thumbs up. Shout out to Eric for coming on earlier. Go sub up to Big Vol Daddy. If you're not subbed to his channel, just go to YouTube, put in Big Vol Daddy. It'll be the first one that pops up. Go give him a sub. Go check out his videos. Appreciate you coming on, man. Always a blast to talk Tennessee football with you. Appreciate you hanging out with us this morning. But that's going to do it for this one. For Big Vol Daddy, my name is Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
Go Vols, baby.
That we call home, and it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive.